Again, what's trending? The presidency has reacted to the United States court ruling ordering the release of records concerning President BolaTinubu's alleged involvement in a drug trafficking case. Well, on April 8th, the United States Court for the District of Columbia ordered the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Drug Enforcement Administration to release records of their investigations concerning the case. The judge ruled that both agencies must search for and process non-exempt records under the Freedom of Information Act. While reacting to the judgment, presidential media aide BolaTinubu stated that there is nothing new to be revealed since the reports of the FBI and DEA on the case have been in the public domain for over 30 years. Well, let's take a look at BolaTinubu's statement. He wrote on X, "Journalists have sought the presidency's reaction to the ruling last Tuesday by a Washington, D.C. judge ordering the U.S. FBI and DEA to release reports connected with President BolaTinubu. Our response is as follows. There is nothing new to be revealed. The report by Agent Moss of the FBI and the DEA report have been in public space for more than 30 years. The reports did not indict the Nigerian leader. The lawyers are examining the ruling." I mean, BolaTinubu here, Rufai, is saying that, you know, the reports that we have seen, I believe we have seen some of these court documents, did not indict President BolaTinubu, saying that, you know, these are not new allegations. So, I mean, why all the furore?
Okay, but the Agent Moss report also talked about, you know, the conversations around the money in BolaTinubu's bank account and conversations around forfeiture of $460,000, and that's what we heard. But I'll just take you back historically. Plainside, a growing span of Plainside, had been pushing this for a while, requiring freedom of information to be able to get most of this dossier out, you know, to be able to read them. And it's been blocked. And the rebuttal has always been that there's, you know, there's that what's it called? Response, which pretty much says, I cannot confirm nor can I deny. And normally that glomar response does suffice when you have a case, you know, of secrecy that has to be involved with governmental agencies and national security, because one of the points that have been made by the CIA that, especially when it comes to human sources, the case of that glomar report will survive. And if you go back historically, the glomar report goes way back to the 70s, where America had this glomar explorer, you know, shape that they want to use for a lot of covert activities. But as regards this, prior to this time, they had taken, you know, with the side of the CIA and those governmental agencies, as regards that glomar response, that, okay, you can hold, that can hold sway when it comes to FOI requests. But this judge, this district court judge, now Judge Holmer, is now saying that, no, because this man is the president of a sovereign, this should be out there in public.
Interest, yeah.
Everybody should be able to see this.
All right.
But the argument that they're still holding is the fact that this is a human resource, you know, of the CIA. This would also, you know, impinge on his privacy, and it will also prevent, you know, further investigations as time goes on. And there's been a contention on the need of the public to know and privacy issues here.
All right.
The judge has also told them that they should backtrack, they should bring back a report on the 2nd of May. So we are waiting for that report. They're going to write an extensive report on that. Most of these agencies, you know, the drug department and other things and all of this.
All right.
And this conversation had been on since the 90s. I think it's best for us to be able to wait on that report. The presidency has reacted and said nothing in that report. I think the position of, you know, Kevin Moss is way different from what might be in this report. Because if they claim that it's what's in the public glare, then definitely these agencies will not have gone to court to be able to stop releasing what they know as regards it.
Let me read an excerpt made by a lawyer from the judgment, just a really short excerpt before we wrap up. They wrote, even the plaintiff acknowledges that Mr. Tinubu's name does not appear directly in these documents. ID. Instead, plaintiff claims merely that it is implausible that no documents responsive to plaintiff's Freedom of Information Act request to the CIA exists, given that the CIA was closely following the issue and would have at least been aware of Mr. Tinubu once he became a prominent politician.
So all of that is subject to the release of the reports of these agencies. We have to wait till May 2. That's a deposition based on a lawyer's argument.
On a lawyer's argument.
So we have to, when they now report to the district judge, Homer, they will be able to know what happened. But you see, in going forward, for the sake of integrity, we shouldn't even have rebuttals as regards preventing, reports like this. Let everything be out in the public.
All right.
Let's be able to see it so we're able to make our inferences and this matter can go away. You forget that some of even these allegations had been put forward in the court during the election petition and it didn't sail through.
Well said.
So there's also going to be a case of jurisdiction. But we need transparency across board.
Well said. We'll take another story and testimonies of Catholic priests at a U.S. congressional hearing regarding the killing of Christians in Benue State. Well, on March 12th, Catholic clerics Bishop Wilfred Anegbe and Reverend Father Ihulia testified before a U.S. committee saying that the experience of Nigerian Christians in Benue State can be summed up as that of a church under Islamist extermination. Bishop Anegbe stated that his diocese in Benue has lost about 15 parishes between 2018 and 2024, with about 140 priests kidnapped or killed and many churches destroyed by Fulani militants. The priests further criticized the Nigerian authorities for failing to stop the killings, while following their testimony, the Catholic priests alleged threats against them. In response, the U.S. mission in Nigeria, in a post on X, stated that it was disturbed by the reports of intimidation and threats against the religious leaders. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in a statement, described the claims as inaccurate and misrepresentative of the country's efforts in tackling insecurity. The federal government further reiterated its commitment to protecting the lives and property of all citizens, regardless of their faith or ethnicity, and pledged to investigate any reports of threats or intimidation against the religious leaders. I mean, this was a story that was circulating over the weekend. I know that the religious leaders claim that, the Fulani militants were killing and displacing Christians. This has been going on for what? Decades now. And, they've come out, they've gone to the U.S. Congress to, state their plight. But now we're seeing the federal government saying that, it's a misrepresentation of the facts, it's an act of terrorism, and that they've been doing everything that, they can to protect the people of Benue, the Christians in Benue State.
Oji, with due respect, that was a very lame response by the federal government. Very, very lame. They said nothing. Yeah, we've been fixing insecurity. The question I want to ask the federal government is, are the hard evidences by that Catholic cleric, are they wrong?
They were hard evidences.
Hard evidence. It happened to him. He said they've lost 15 parish. Do they have any other empirical fact to the contrary? No. It's just a sweeping generalization that we're fighting against security. And you see, the federal government makes this mistake a lot. When you criticize against insecurity, they start to vituperate, they start to jakburo. It scratches them like wirekwe. You see, the problem is, this report is not only talking about the Tinubu administration. It's talking about from 2018.
Correct.
So Buhari administration is also there, but they take it on because they're the government part, they don't want it. Just like how the Minister of Information had a tiff with the governor of Borno State. You can't know what's happening on ground in Borno like the governor. So please, it's best they take in the criticism and they investigate. The question is it happening? We've seen a lot of kidnapping and killing of Catholic clerics in every part of the country, including Benue. Most of these cases, Oji, are even underreported. The state of insecurity is so rampant that most of the cases are underreported. Most of them don't even get to major news networks. Take, for instance, what happened in Sufferi yesterday. on Saturday night was probably only reported maybe by the likes of, the ones that Daily Trust are able to pick up and other media. So we must do something against the high level of insecurity. That's why people have called it ethnic cleansing.
Right.
Deliberately targeting a group of people for their land, for resource.
Right.
Which is sad, and also across religious lines.
Right.
But I don't want it to be majorly about religion, because on the flip side, we also have Muslims that have been attacked.
Yes.
As Christians have been attacked, Muslims have also been attacked. But the government should be able to introspect. Look at it. Benue used to be the breadbasket of the nation.
That's it.
But what is happening? The same thing happened when the former governor of Benue had to set up his own local, vigilante group to be able to fight. We covered it live at lunch here.
Well, let me tie this in together. Well, let's now take a look at this poem by a young woman from Benue State, decrying the herdsmen's killings that have claimed several lives and displaced thousands. She urged the federal government to intervene and stop the killings. Here's a snippet.
The food basket of the nation is now blood basket of the nation. The land once lush with green, now hush and grim, filled with sullen faces with no hope to survive the day, like arid ground in want of rain. Pain is plain. It's daybreak. Folks are supposed to go to their farms, but farms are not the safest places to be. It's nightfall. It's heartbreak. It's heartache. Over destroyed homes, destroyed crops, slaughtered brethren, bloodshed. Motherland is not the safest place to be. The land loud with violence, flooding with the blood of the young and old alike. Great sons fall like autumn leaves, dead bodies scatter like mustard seeds. Homes empty out, while IDP camps flood their ranks with the young and old, all in their ranks. Living is worse than a brutal crime. They say tough times don't last. Tell that to the people of Goma, who have watched herdsmen turn gunmen. Tell that to the people of Turan. Tell that to the people of Kwande, who have had bullets sprayed on them like rainwater, who have been changed to nothing but chicken for slaughter. Tell that to youths who this have cost them futures. Tell that to people who do nothing but levitate, have their foot in suspended mid-air, meditate on the next baba blast of a trigger or the next pointing of a finger to the voice of a brother. Bella, Baba, no, will this ever stop? Stop Benue killings. Let the lives of kinsmen cease to be pawns in the game of politics. Stop Benue killings. Let motherland be home again.
I hope that this video resonates with the security agencies, the federal government of Nigeria. I mean, this young girl's poem really touched my heart, and I thought it was important to highlight it. I mean, to stop the Benue killings, stop the killings in Plateau, stop the killings in the southeast, stop the killings across Nigeria. It is really becoming a very, very worrying situation. May their souls rest in peace. Shall we take our good news?